Welcome to Velocity, the Vista Chamber podcast. I'm your host, Vista Chamber CEO Rachel Beld, and it's my privilege to interview the movers, shakers, and change makers impacting the Vista community and beyond. Today, my guest is Patrick Sanchez, or Pat, from the Vista Irrigation District. He's a director in District 4. Mr. Sanchez was born in Los Angeles and grew up in Santa Fe Springs, California. Graduated from Long Beach State University with a degree in public administration and worked for cities and counties throughout the state of California for 37 years. This work included serving as a park and rec director and also as a public services director. And during his public administration career, he had responsibilities for parks, beaches, open space, airports, public facilities, street trees, marinas, aquatic centers, waste management, and marine reserves. It's a lot. And in 2009, Mr. Sanchez retired from the city of Tustin after serving as the city's community and public facilities director for over 10 years. And he was appointed to Vista Irrigation Board of Directors in 2017 and was reelected for a 4-year term in 2019. Pat lives in Vista with his wife, Kelly, and they have 1 daughter and 2 grandchildren. And when he's not making decisions about water, he enjoys golf, skiing, and racquetball and the activities of the Vista Optimist Club. So welcome. Thank you.
Well, Rachel, thanks for having me.
So happy to talk to you today and to learn more about the Vista Irrigation District. So with that, I wanted to say that I think a lot of people think that VID is part of the city of Vista. So tell me, please, what is Vista Irrigation District? It's not a part of the city, I know that. So tell me, please, about it and what are some of the scope of services and projects that you oversee?
Well, Rachel, correct. It is not part of the municipal services of the city of Vista, but we're a separate district solely to provide water services to the community. The scope of work is we provide 29,000 connections to about 130 residents and businesses.
Wow.
And it's solely the district is solely formed to provide reliability for water to those customers.
Wow. So when I turn on my faucet to get a drink of water, that's thanks to Vista Irrigation District.
The reliability that the water is there for you when you turn on the tap or the faucet, exactly.
Wow, great. So tell me a little bit about the history of the district.
Well, as you know, we're celebrating our 100th anniversary.
Congratulations.
And there was an election way back in 1923 to form the district. And shortly thereafter, we started getting water from Lake Henshaw, and the district was basically incorporated in 1923, September 11th of that year. In 1946, the district purchased the San Diego Water Company, which owned 43,000 acres of the Warner Ranch and Lake Henshaw, and that's how we became to own that facility. It was the main water source, basically, for the residents way back then.
Where is Lake Henshaw?
Lake Henshaw is up near Palomar Mountain. It's about 15 miles east of us here.
And is that the main source of water for the district now?
It is not.
Okay.
No. In normal times, about 15% of the water that our residents and our connections receive come from Lake Henshaw.
Okay.
But the other 85% come from our wholesaler, the San Diego County Water Authority, and we purchase water through them to provide services.
Okay. And then the San Diego County Water Authority gets water from a variety of sources as well.
They do.
Right.
They have the Colorado River. We can chat about that in a minute. And the Metropolitan Water District gets it from the Bay and the Delta area in Northern California.
Okay. So there's a huge network, really, it sounds like, of water sources, water providers, and servicers. So it's complex, it seems.
It is a little complex in that the San Diego County Water Authority is the wholesaler for 22 different retailers here in San Diego County.
Wow.
You know, everywhere from Fallbrook down to Otay. They're all independent districts who provide water to their immediate communities. And the city of San Diego is also part of the Water Authority.
Oh, okay. What are some of the problems and the challenges that are impacting the district and our water sources at this time?
Well, locally, as it pertains to our district, part of the challenge is a lot of upward pressure on rates on what water is costing these days. That's one. We'll chat about that in a second.
Mm-hmm.
But as you know, being 100 years old, some of our infrastructure needs to constantly be repaired and that sort of thing. The water that came down from Lake Henshaw comes through a flume, and that flume is over 100 years old.
Oh, wow.
And we're constantly repairing that and fixing that, and we're looking possibly to replace that. That's part of the challenge, our capital improvement program. Back in the 50s and 60s, when all the pipes that were laid down to provide the main and the mains and that sort of thing throughout the district, parts of those were done with a particular type of pipe called a nipponite pipe, a plastic that has not held up very well over time. We're replacing a lot of main pipes in the district. So part of the challenges is to make sure that we keep our infrastructure up and operating, and to do that within reasonable rates so that you have that reliability out of that tap and out of that faucet.
So where does the money come from then for these big infrastructure improvements? Is there a large reserve that you can draw from?
Well, we receive that from our water rates, and the district has been very fiscally prudent over time. All of our projects up until recently have been as what we call pay-as-you-go. Okay. We've gotten it from the water rates, and we can talk a little bit about water rates in a moment, but we get it from the water rates and create capital project reserves so that we can do these projects and continue our reliability.
So similar to someone at your home, you know that eventually you're going to need a new roof. So maybe if you're wise and if you're prudent, then you set aside a little bit of money each year. And then when you get to the point where you need a new roof, then you have the money to buy a new roof. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
Exactly, Rachel. Now, if you look at your water bill, we can talk about that in a little bit. If you look at your water bill, about half of that bill is not the price of water. It's the price of the infrastructure that it takes to get the water to your home. For example, your water meters, the main lines in the middle of the street, our reservoirs, all of that. And someone says, well, I didn't use a lot of water last month. Why is my water bill about the same? Well, all of that has to be maintained. And those are fixed costs, as we call it.
So only part of your bill is based really on usage.
That's right.
Okay. All right. So what do you want people to know besides that piece? What else would you want people to know about the rates that they pay?
Well, as I told you, there's a lot of pressure on rates. Where we get our water, for example, there's a cost for that as well. Currently, we purchase it in acre feet. That's an acre of land 1 foot deep. And when you hear the term, 1,000,000 acre feet,
it's a lot of water.
It's a lot of water. Right. That sort of thing. We purchase about 360,000 acre feet of water a year to serve our 130,000 residents and businesses. And we purchase that through the San Diego County Water Authority. And they have cost to transport the water all the way from the Colorado River and from the Metropolitan Water District in Los Angeles and down from the Delta. So that cost provides a challenge, and that continues to go up. There are restrictions now, regulatory issues that, for example, that limit the amount of water that we can get from the Bay Delta, for example. Much of that water, or not much, but about 50% of that water has to go out to the ocean to protect the steelhead and the smelt and that sort of thing. And by regulating water at the state level, for example, it raises the cost of the rest of the water that gets transported. So those are some of the challenges in keeping water rates. The next thing as well, our district and locally. As I mentioned, we're pretty fiscally prudent, keeping the costs down. We've had the same number of employees we've had since 1988.
Wow. So no added positions
since
1988.
No added positions to do that. That's
wow.
Right. As a matter of fact, we reduced a couple of them. And so they've done a really efficient way to do that. That has helped in a number of ways. Technology has certainly helped by reading our meters, by water quality. So we've managed to keep our costs down, to try and keep our rates down.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned before about the Colorado River, and I know there's been a lot in the news recently around negotiations of the Colorado River, and then I'd heard different states were negotiating different pieces, and there's a current agreement that's going to expire in a period of time. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
You're correct, Rachel. The Colorado River is one of our primary sources of water, and the San Diego County Water Authority has some rights to bring that water here to San Diego County. The 7 western states who draw water from the Colorado River are separated into 2 sections, the upper basin and the lower basin. California and Arizona are part of the lower basin. The upper basin includes most of Wyoming, Utah, a portion of Idaho, Colorado, a portion of Nevada, and a portion of New Mexico. Now, because there's been great demand on the water on the Colorado River, whether it be a greater population, more housing, more businesses, all of those demands have really put pressure on that river. The most important thing that puts pressure on that river is drought. We've really had some problems with that. So the Bureau of Reclamation at the federal level has asked the 7 states to find ways to conserve water and to come to an agreement so that we can meet the needs of, in California, for example, 40 million people need water. 22 million in Southern California draw water from the Colorado River. This agreement means that the upper basin and the states in the lower basin have to find ways to limit the amount of water we draw from the thing through conservation, through fallowing farmland. And we have to get to a point where we need to conserve before 2026 2 to 4 million acre feet of water less than we've been using in the last. In 2026, a new agreement and a new what's called the law of the river will be done, and the reclamation is trying to, how do I say this, put a Band-Aid on this through conservation measures so we can get there.
The law of the river sounds like the Wild West, kind of sounds like a funny way to the law of the river.
There have been a number of agreements going all the way back to 1919 that have created the law of the river. The water rights, for example, on that river can go back to that time. In 1926, there's minute action from the early 50s, and all of these agreements are in place, and these are called to build the law of the river.
What do you think is important for the average citizen to understand about this, and how could they have their voice heard? I mean, obviously water is important. California, just in the agricultural piece, California is a huge agricultural supplier for the entire country. So how can the voices of the people be heard to make sure that we have what we need?
Well, certainly working through your state legislature and also your congressional representative about focusing on water and raising the consciousness of that is important. The demand, the drought, and all of these things raise what actually do we need to provide water in the future? What are those things? There are dollars available at the federal level to make improvements to ensure water supply. For example, replenishing groundwater, conservation programs like Water Smart, desalinization, additional storage, all of those are important. And we have to try and be as active as we can to build those projects. And as a resident, put pressure on those people to act and to do that. As you know, additional regulations, environmental concerns, all of those things slow down these projects. Water storage is important, probably among the most important and sustainable to make these things happen. Recently, great rains, good stuff. And we need to capture that water so that we can have water supply for the future.
You mentioned desalinization, and I know that's been a hot topic, particularly in North County with the Carlsbad desalinization plant and some others potentially in the works. So what piece do you think desalinization brings into this whole picture? Can it really solve the problem?
It can certainly help.
Okay.
Again, the desalinization project in Carlsbad has been a great success, but really only about 4% of the water that goes into San Diego County comes from desalinization. It is a small part. It is an important part because all of these local types of water production and water provision are important to the whole picture. Whether it's a water smart program or recycling or desalinization, they've provided, since they've been open, 90 billion gallons of water to San Diego County.
That's a lot.
And desalinization is important, but unto itself, it's not sustainable. You need large reservoirs, large recharging of groundwater, and an extensive conservation program to ensure that we have water for the future.
What about water reclamation? Am I saying that correctly? Where, you take used water, let's say, and turn it into drinkable water. Is that viable?
It is viable, and there are many exciting programs that are going on right here in San Diego County. The city of San Diego is doing a great job with that, and the city of Oceanside is doing that as well. And all of those types of programs help to make that conservation equation a little easier to maintain, or I use the word upon to swallow. All of those are important. Everything we can do at the local level. For example, we have a number of well fields up in the Warden Ranch area. Keep those maintained. Those are important. But the overall greater demand for the millions of acre feet that are needed in the western states, it's going to be storage, capturing, groundwater replenishment, all of those kinds of major global-sized projects is what's going to be needed. We need to do the little things as well. I'm not saying desal is little, but we need to do them all.
Okay. Do you have an idea of how many acre feet? Just so I can wrap my brain around what we're talking about.
We purchase 360,000 acre feet a year.
360,000. So almost like one a day.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
1,000 a day.
And, we still, going back in history, most of our customers were agricultural.
Right.
You touched upon that a little bit, and but now very little. Yet we still have some, and it's important. And if I could go a step further as to what you talked about in the Central Valley of California in food production and food sustainability, water is important to those farmers. In the Imperial Valley, which is an important part of our section here in San Diego County as well, 80% of the winter vegetables in the world are grown in the winter here in the Imperial Valley. I just heard that, a couple months ago, and I went, wow. So food sustainability is important to provide this water supply for the future.
That's a great point. And I had another guest on the show, Whit from Misadventure Vodka. He makes vodka from food product, baked goods that are being tossed out. And he talked about just the percentage of food that's wasted. And so when food is wasted, the water that was needed to make that food is essentially wasted too. So it's so interesting how it overlaps with food production and not just the agricultural component, but also making food and consuming food and all of that. So it's everything's connected back to water.
It is connected as we go back to the western states, for example, and the agreements and the conservation measures they're being asked to take, asking farmers not to farm their land, to fallow their land is the word, and that sort of thing is a difficult choice for farmers and the agricultural foundation in the future. I must say that I had an opportunity to go to a conference and when there were many farmers, and they are working hard at water efficiency as well. It's just not a matter, as you see, all of this spray irrigation in these farms. They are finding ways to use less water and continue to grow the food we need on our table.
For more than 60 years, Tri-City Medical Center has been committed to advancing the health and wellness of the community we serve. With leading-edge emergency care, including top-rated heart and stroke programs, advanced orthopedics, primary care, obstetrics, and neonatal care, Tri-City stands at the ready when you need us most. Learn more at tricitymed.org.
At J&R Auto Body and Paint, you don't have to worry about a thing. From minor dents and dings to major collision repair, we offer a worry, hassle-free experience with superior customer service. Our auto claim advisors work directly with your insurance company, so you don't have to deal with the headaches. Our certified technicians work on all makes and models to get your repair done right the first time. We stand behind our work with a lifetime warranty. Locally and family-owned, J&R Auto Body is here to serve the community. Call us today at 760-724-4923.
Hi, it's Carrie from Solatube Home in Vista, California. If you're looking for ways to brighten and cool your home, we are your natural light and fresh air experts. We offer a selection of daylighting and ventilation products to help make your home beautiful and comfortable. And the best part of all is you won't be using any electricity to brighten up. We can bring beautiful, natural light into those dark spaces in your home, transforming them into beautifully lit spaces in less than 2 hours. No mess, no fuss, just amazing natural light to make your home look and feel great. If you're looking to cool off your home, we have a complete line of ventilation products to keep your home and garage cool. We want to make cooling and refreshing your home easier and more energy efficient than ever with our line of whole house fans, solar attic fans, and garage fans. Our certified installers carry the full line of Solatube daylighting and ventilation products on their vans at all times. Installation can usually be done in about 2 hours. No messy drywall, paint repair, structural changes, or re-roofing needed. It's pretty much the easiest home improvement project you'll ever take on. At Solatube Home, we offer no obligation appointments throughout Southern California. Visit our website at solatubehome.com or stop by our showroom conveniently located in Vista at 2210 Oak Ridge Drive, or give us a call, 619-375-1629. We look forward to brightening your day.
Yeah, the water usage on farming is the technology, it's mind-boggling.
It is.
And it's so specific. It's, targeted right to the plant, right where it needs the water, and it's the exact amount it needs and not a little bit more. It's so specific, the technologies. I've learned a little bit about farming technologies recently, and it's not what you think about, what you saw in movies or on TV, or what you learned about in school, and the way that farmers would farm. It's just not the case at all. There's some of the most advanced technologies with regard to farming now. And
to credit to them, their future is on the line.
Oh, absolutely.
And they've had to do this exactly what you're saying.
And and our futures are on the line, because if we don't have food, then what? Then what? Right?
There you go.
So that's an issue. So I wanted to ask you, as a director for the district, what is your role in all of this? What do you do exactly?
Well, we're fortunate, as you indicated. I represent a Division 4, and as we had through elections and through state regulation 5 or 6 years ago to do that. So I represent those constituents in Division 4, as well as the constituents throughout the district. And basically to provide a policy as the direction of how the district does their business. As an elected official, we take a look at the capital improvement programs. We take a look at the operation. We take a look at financing instruments to do that. We have an agenda just like they have at City Council. We take a look at those items and provide direction to the staff to try to be fiscally prudent, to represent our constituents. As I mentioned, probably one of the most important things is keeping the rates down. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of pressure to do that. So we look at that carefully. We look at the efficiencies of our projects. And so we sit at a dais, receive the reports, and try and provide direction that best represents what we think is our 130 residents. These are not only residents of the city of Vista and the surrounding area, but these are business residents too. Mm-hmm.
Right. So if our business members or general public wants to get involved or learn more about your meetings, it's obviously they're posted on your website. They have to be posted so many days in advance per the Brown Act and all of that. And when are you typically do you meet?
We meet on the first and third Wednesdays of the month.
Okay.
At our district headquarters over on Engineer Way there.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. So obviously the district doesn't work alone. You have a lot of partners. Who else do you partner with? I know we talked about some other agencies like San Diego County Water Authority. Are there any other partners, municipal partners, or anybody that you work with?
Well, City of Vista is important to us. For example, a number of projects come to us about a new development or businesses changing hands or road work, for example, and all of that is intermingled. So the City of Vista is a big partner. Building permits and that sort of thing. We have engineers on our staff who review plans and specifications for these things. What are going to be the water demands? What are some of the things we're going to have to do to maybe move a pipe to make something happen? So the City of Vista is an important partner. For sure. Another important partner as part of the City of Vista is our fire department, right? We've got hydrants all over. Talk about reliability. We have to make sure that they have it when they need it as well. And so that's an important part of our infrastructure as well. Some of the other businesses that we have, for example, who are our partners, are suppliers to us. We have a number of vendors, whether it be pipe or meters or vehicle maintenance, those are important to us. And an important partner that we have are the 5 Indian bands. Okay, that's an important partner. We have an Indian settlement agreement that we finished up about 5 or 6 years ago to ensure that they get the water for the activities and the things that they need. One example would be the La Jolla Band. They have a recreational facility below our Henshaw Dam that we provide water to them as part of the agreement for recreational use, float trips and things. It's an important part of their economy. And they're a wonderful partner to us, all of these bands, to do that. So we go far and wide on those people we touch.
Wow, that's great. Are there any... in addition to the elected board of directors, are there committees or commissions that support your work?
Well, we have a couple of committees and activities that we're involved in. For example, I can touch a little bit about that. For example, we have a committee that works on our scholarship program.
Okay, tell me more about that.
Yeah, this scholarship program, we provide, we have a $10,000 budget to provide scholarships to students who may be interested in water. We have an essay contest, and it's eligible to high school students, and we provide that. And this year, our theme, their essay is, Imagine a Day Without Water.
Oh, wow.
And,
pretty thought-provoking.
And that's part of our scholarship. So we have a scholarship committee to do that. We have a poster contest committee that does that. And we are also actively involved in some state and regional things. The Association of California Water Agencies, we're a member of that. Strong lobbyists, take a look at regulations that affect us. We have representatives of our board who are on that. We have a representative of our board who is also on the board of directors of the San Diego Water Authority and on the board of directors of the Metropolitan Water District. So those are some of the things that we reach out to do that. So we have a number of internal committees and external committees.
So the Vista Irrigation District is larger than the city boundaries.
That's right.
Much larger, right?
Well, we for example, we go into San Marcos, some unincorporated areas, just a piece of Oceanside. We touch a little bit in Escondido. We are partners with the city of Escondido on the water treatment plant.
Oh, okay.
So our boundaries are not exactly those of the city of Vista, but I would say we serve maybe another 15% of residents outside those boundaries.
Okay. All right. Great. So you mentioned earlier about the district celebrating 100 years. So tell me, what do you have planned for your birthday?
Well,
not your personal birthday, of course.
Well, I'm supposed to plan something for Valentine's Day here, Rachel, and I'm trying to. No, the 100th anniversary. Well, we're going to culminate it on September 9th with a big open house. I'll talk a little bit about that. But prior to that is letting people know that 100 years of service and stewardship. In 1946, 43,000 acres in the Warner Ranch and Lake Henshaw is a big job for us to maintain environmentally, and we have some wonderful resources out there. So we've been stewards of the land for quite some time, and also for service. Some resolutions to let people know, some historical displays over at our district office. Our webpage will be full of historical facts, and we're going to have a 12-page brochure that'll go to our customers about who we are and what we've done and where we're headed. But on September 9th, starting at 10 in the morning, at our facility on headquarters on Engineer, we're going to have an open house, and it'll get our customers an opportunity to see what we do. We'll have activities for children. We'll have tours of some of our equipment in our facility. We're going to have some games, food and beverage, and an opportunity for our customers to come see what we do.
That's great. That's great. What do you think is coming in the next 100 years? I mean, so many advances in technology. Any ideas or thoughts about what the next 100 years could hold for the district?
Well, I think even and this is no disrespect, Rachel, even with local productions like this one, and raising the consciousness of the possible crisis of water supply is a good thing, because I think that crisis will get people to pay attention to do the things to ensure the next 100 years of reliability in water supply. I think technology, there'll be more efficiencies. I think there's going to be, as a result of water supply crisis, a crunch on other issues as well. Housing, business development, all those kinds of things are going to receive the crunch of water shortage and the drought and that sort of thing. Water efficiencies, capital projects that need to be done, reservoirs that need to be built, a change in attitude about how we capture water. I think those things are coming. They're going to have to.
We need water. We can't live without it.
Can't live without it.
We can't live without it. Wow. Thank you so much for being here. Is there anything that we didn't talk about that jumps out at you, something that you would want to share?
I think the only thing I want to share with you with respect to water is what did the recent rains really do?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. Sure.
What did they really do? Well, good things, of course. The snowpack in the Sierra is fabulous. Our reservoirs are filling up. That's great. There's been so much saturation throughout the state of California that the runoff, we're replenishing the groundwater. But does that end the drought? Probably not. The drought is pretty complex. And the scientists are telling us that this kind of volatility, ebbs and flows, that we're going to have probably some dry years ahead of us. And we have to be prepared for that and to go from there. San Diego County has done a great job. We've got 22 reservoirs, and they have really invested in infrastructure over time. And we need to continue to do that. But we need to do that not only at the regional level, state level, and at the federal level.
Okay. Ooh, that's heavy to think about. It's heavy to think about all the work that needs to be done. And also just that, we have all of these rains, but it doesn't, it helps for now, but it's not.
We need more.
Yeah.
One of the great things that has happened as a result is that because of all the water, our customers have conserved and have not turned on the tap as much or the faucet as much as they needed. And we're saving that drop for when we do need it.
Mm-hmm. And it is so nice when it does rain this much and everything's so green and beautiful. It's really nice. Okay. So that's the end of the bulk of the interview, but I do have a few rapid fire questions that I ask every guest at the end. Are you ready?
I hope so.
Okay. Ready or not? Okay. So tell me, please, a book that you think everyone should read, or a book that's really been important to you?
Yeah. One of them, it's actually about 10 or 12 years old, and I believe the author's name is Menenbaum, and it's called This Used to Be Us. And he really talks about the infrastructure and things that need to get done. He refers to a gentleman in this book called Robert Moses, who was part of the New York 5 boroughs way back in the day. And if you wanted a bridge built, you went to his office to get it built. And we've stopped doing that. We've stopped the infrastructure. He talks about education in there and where our education is compared to the world. And the book is called This Used to Be Us. I'd recommend reading that.
Sounds fascinating. I'll put it on my list, and I'll link to it in the show notes as well. Okay, I'm curious about a song that you love. Is there a song that's...
Oh, my favorite song of all time?
Yeah.
Do You Believe in Magic by the Lovin' Spoonful.
Oh, that's a great song. And I do believe in magic, so it's a great song. Okay, Pat, tell me something that inspires you. Something that inspires you.
I usually don't look, online much or that sort of thing. But every now and then, I will hear a message that holds true. I'm a captain of a golf group of guys coming up, and I just heard one the other day, and it says, "Prepare yourself to be your best when it matters most." And somehow, I'll catch those from time to time. I don't have that sort of thing.
Yeah.
A
little inspirational quote.
Yeah, it came up just the other day, and I'm going to use that.
There you go. Perfect. Okay. So last question. Tell me a Vista business that deserves a shout out.
Well, they're a place I go often. I don't know why, but I go often. It's Plaza Cleaners right there in the Albertson Shopping Center on Longhorn and Melrose. She's so nice and always so kind. And
well, your clothes look sharp, so they're doing a good job.
She's great.
That's great.
Plaza Cleaners.
Plaza Cleaners. Having a good dry cleaner is so important, and it's just nice to know that you have that. When they come in, they know your name, they know right where your order is. That's always a good thing. It's a good feeling.
Well, Mom, you know better, right? Right.
Yes.
And make sure your kids come September 9th.
Oh, absolutely. We'll be there for sure. For sure. So I want to say thank you so much to our guest, Patrick Sanchez, and thank you for listening to Velocity. If you like what you heard, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and tell a friend. Help us move Vista forward with Velocity. The Vista Chamber of Commerce is a nonprofit organization that serves as a catalyst for business growth. Visit us online at vistachamber.org.